This is our port for tomorrow.
Well, I am very bummed. The next two ports, Gisborne and Napier, are already canceled. Gisborne, because you have to shuttle in and the conditions are just too bad. But you can't always get what you want. So we have exactly 3 ports left before we hit Auckland on January 10th and the cruise will be over. It's pouring off and on in Wellington today, but we'll wait for the captain's announcement to see whether or not he is going to make a run through Cook Inlet up the west coast of New Zealand or continue on the east coast.
Which would account for the rather big bangs that we heard during the night last night. So the wind is forecast to stay much the same on the east coast here, which means that the swell will be even bigger on the next day, 24 to 48 hours, with the conditions a lot worse than they were last night. So with all this in mind, we've had a look at the various weather systems and how they're moving. We're going to sail tonight, probably in about 45 minutes from now, head over to Wellington as is on our schedule, and then we'll stay overnight in Wellington tomorrow night. So we'll arrive at the pilot tomorrow morning 6 o'clock, alongside the berth in Wellington about 7:30 tomorrow morning. Then the intention is at the moment to stay in Wellington until 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. There's a reason for this. We're looking at the various pressure systems. One of them will have passed and the other one will be approaching Wellington by then, so we're going to choose the window between that and sail. This is obviously going to impact on Gisborne on Sunday, but as I've already said, the conditions in Gisborne, which is an open bay for anchorage, are not suitable anyway, and we certainly couldn't anchor and couldn't run tenders there, as other vessels have found out. So that's going to impact on Gisborne, unfortunately, but my priority will always be the safety of the ship and the passengers on board, and also the crew. So tomorrow night we'll stay overnight in Wellington. It'll give us a chance to further monitor the weather systems and ensure we make the correct decision, with safety being the priority as we proceed onwards. There is a very high chance that I will take the option to go through the Cook Straits and proceed up the west coast of New Zealand to shelter from this very extreme weather. So that is highly likely. If that does happen, it's going to impact further on the ports. I'll keep you updated tomorrow as I get more information, but it is a changing situation and we're watching it and we're looking at the weather situations, and it's not very pleasant out there, so we're looking for the best option. I do apologise, but I'm sure as you experienced last night, you wouldn't want that, or certainly not any worse as is forecast at the moment, with winds in excess of 50 knots up off Napier at the moment. So with that said, we'll get on with getting ready for sailing, and we'll make the best evening we can, and it shouldn't be too bad the crossing over to Wellington. Thank you.
Obviously, God knows whether we're going to see any more ports after Wellington.
We're officially on the North Island. Now, what the captain was talking about as far as 3 weather fronts off the North Island of New Zealand converging, and one on the East Coast in particular, which is almost cyclones. We are supposed to go all the way up the East Coast, but the captain was saying that he may make a decision to go through the Cook Inlet and up the west coast of New Zealand.
And he said the winds are almost typhoon strength. It is always something.
I asked, what is the difference between a cyclone and a typhoon?
The cyclone is for the northern hemisphere and the typhoon is for the southern hemisphere.
Well, that was certainly not good news from the captain during the briefing for Wellington. Who knows what's going to happen with the rest of the cruise, with almost typhoon force winds and waves. We're going to pop some more seasick pills before we go to sleep tonight, that's for darn sure.
Good morning, welcome to Wellington. We have 2 tugs out there who just helped us come in. We had Beef Wellington tonight. We have the Norwegian Spirit berthed right behind me, and the shuttle buses that go back and forth into town.